Welcome to the ECM training for the workforce agencies. My name is Afani Azarika, and I'm going to be leading this training. And the first thing you'll see will be our start page. This start page is primarily used for the ECM team to provide you any updates in regards to enhancements to the system. Now, when you're in here, you may want to create an account or an application or review an application. But let's start from the beginning. Let's say that you receive a call from a resident who is interested in having services be provided from your agency. So since this person is only inquiring and they're not an actual client, you can go to the outreach service page and then just type in that person's name. Let's say that person is currently on the phone with you and they're just interested in potential services. Here on the outreach service page, you can see that there's already 2 people with the same name of that person who's calling. Please ask them of what their date of birth and address is to just verify that that person not already in the system. If that person already is in the system, just select them and then click select. If they're not, because they have a different date of birth or different address, you can just create a new account for the said person. John Cross, the name is in the system, but that's the person who's calling me is not the same John Cross that's in the system because they have a different date of birth and a different address. Again, if Northwell Street, and then click create. Oh, I forgot the gender. Gender is, notice that anything with an asterisk or red asterisk next to it is required, and you can't move forward until you actually fill that out. Okay, now I can go to our service tracking. And since this is a call, you're most likely not providing any tangible services yet to the client, but you can just select no service provided, and you can note the inquiries that the client may have had. Because the purpose of this page is to track all the services that you provide to the client. So you are going to provide the services primarily after you enroll them. So you will be providing services at this junction, but please remember to come back to this page to note any services that were provided. I'll go to the application page to create an application for this client. And the purpose of this application page is strictly eligibility. So we're only going to ask about demographic information, income information, complete the workforce assessment, and then upload any eligible documents. You do not enroll the client on the application page. This is strictly eligibility. And notice on the right side, we have this thing called the verify list, and it's in red. This verify list basically just lets you know that everything that needs to be completed before you can actually verify/lock this application. And again, this is all eligibility requirements. So here I can see that household members I have some things I need to complete here. So I'll just go to HH members and I can do my demographic information. Let's go to John Cross and click this edit pencil. Household type, let's say it's a single person. That's everything, so I'm going to click save. And just to verify that everything is done within my verify list, I'll just come verify list. Okay, so regarding household members, everything has been completed, so I can move on to the next thing, which is the assessment. Pencil, and then you can complete this assessment. Make sure you verify that these answers are correct with the actual client. Now I can go to income, the client. So notice on the left side, we have a few income sources. These are going to most likely fit in most clients, but if not, we have another section you can type in a specific income source. But let's say this client is receiving unemployment benefits, so I'm going to go to unemployment insurance and frequency biweekly, and then the amount biweekly is $570. And then here we can see the ECM will provide you, based on what you entered here, with a monthly, quarterly, yearly, and the full POV, which is just poverty level and the AMI percentage of this client. You can also provide any non-cash benefits such as SNAP, Affordable Care Act subsidies, anything of that nature. Or if they don't have any, just put none. And any health insurance, if you don't know, you can just say you don't know, or data not collected, or you can just provide the actual information here. You go to the document page, document tab, and in your actual production site, you should have 5 to 6 required documents. I only have 1 required document here because it's just a test site. So I just wanted to show you how to upload a document. So to upload a document, you just come here and click add document. Go to document type, select that type. Okay, it wasn't. And then ECM will allow you to view the document and also download the document and print the document. And if you upload the wrong document, you can just click right here to delete it and upload another one. So notice that even though my document is uploaded, I still have the verify list saying that document is required. You will need to come to this middle section. I'll zoom in a little bit and then click right here and then just approve that this document actually matches what it's supposed to be. And then once that's done, the verify list will be gone, and then you can now verify/lock the application. Again, this is strictly eligibility. You have not enrolled the client yet. Now to enroll the client, the next step will be to go to the workforce placement page. And within this page, there are two main tabs, which is the goals tab and IAP tab. The goals tab is strictly, get you ready for the enrollment. What are the plans of the client? And all of these fields here are just goals, and they're not anything that has happened yet. So you can either enter it here, or just ignore it. Placement program is extremely important. Based off your contract with the city, you may only have one placement program, or you may have multiple. But just note which placement program you want this client to be in, and note only employment prep actually is voucherable within the system for enrollment and placement. So I'm going to select employment prep. And when I do that, you can click any readiness challenges, employment challenges, and any targets. These targets are basically just like certifications to let us know what this client will need to do in order to reach that goal. So my client wants to work in the food services. There's no certificates here that the client needs, so I'm going to ignore this and just click save. If there were any certificates that they need, I can just come here and click on add and manually enter in that certificate. Make sure to click certification and type that in, but there's none that I do need. So now I can just skip over to the IEP tab. And then within the IEP tab, I can finally enroll my client. If you're retroactively enrolling the client, it's going to default to today's date, but you can always change this to a different date. But note that once this is saved, you cannot change this enrollment date again. So make sure you know when they should be enrolled. Notice that I have an error message because I never created any task prior to enrollment. So a task is needed to be enrolled because you need to know what you're doing in order for them to be enrolled. So for example, I am providing resume building skills or resume building workshops. Once you have a few tasks, or at least one task, you can go to enroll and then enroll that client and then click save. Let's say this client is ready to be employed. We help the client find a job. I will then click the employ button. Now, all of these fields do matter because this is the actual job that the client received, the industry, the company name. Let's say the client works at Burger King. The placement date, this date can be ignored. This is just the date you entered it in the system. But what the date that is really important is this work start date. This is the date that the client starts their job. And our retention dates are going to be based off this work start date. Again, you can ignore this placement date, but please pay close attention to this work start date. Let's say they're going to start in 2 weeks. So they're going to start in February 7th. How many hours a week will they work? 5 hours. And what's the hourly rate? Hourly rate is $18. Were they referred to anywhere? Let's say no referral. And what's the address of this Burger King? Let's say it's right here. And then you can also add any roles and responsibilities, but that's not required. So I'm going to save this. And note that once I save it, I now have a new target called follow-up. And follow-up is used to, as it says, follow up on the client. We have our work start date, which is February the 7th. And based off February 7th, 30 days from that date is going to be March 8th. And then within March 8th, I will need to come here and then click complete to mark this as retention 30 has been completed. See, the system will not allow me to do so because I haven't reached that date yet. So I will just leave this alone. I can close this and just say in progress and save this. And then once March 8th has come, I can come back to the system and mark this complete. Note, you must mark this complete in your reports to say that this actually reached retention 30. You cannot ignore this step. So let's say that I want a voucher for my enrollment. I can go to forms and then click enrollment voucher and then click print. And here I can print this form and then have the client sign it, and I will sign it myself respectively. Once that's signed and printed, I can then go to the auto payment billing page. And this is only for employment prep. I will go to create, workforce training, find that client, John Cross, and I can click submit, or I can wait till I have a couple more enrollments, then submit. If I'm going to submit now, and within submit, I can now print out my voucher transmittal form by going again to forms. Another tab will appear, and then this will be my voucher transmittal form. And then once I reach retention 30, I will go about doing the exact same step. I come in here, submit, and then printing out that form as well. Now, let's say that I want to run a report to just see all of my clients and see where I'm at. I can just go to general report. It defaults to favorites. You may have no favorites. Just go to workforce and then select. You're on the workforce placement page and you want to create a goal, add your placement, but you see that nothing here is editable. There's no edit pencil. You can't make any changes on here. Go on the IEP page. You can't do anything besides exit the application, which you don't want to do. The first thing you need to look at is this area right here in yellow. This is really important because if this is telling me that this application is not verified. So for a workforce placement page to work, the application must be eligible and verified. Since this is unverified, that's the key reason why there's nothing here that works. Also, if the application is exited, that's another reason why it wouldn't work. But of course, you will know all your exit applications. So now to verify the application, I would just go to the application page. And notice here on my right side, it says verify list is in red. So let me see what is missing. So apparently I forgot to add ethnicity on my demographics and household members, and I'm missing a document. So let's fix that. So let's go to household members. Let me edit this. Oh, yep, ethnicity. Answer that question, and then click save. Next document, let's go to that. Notice I have a document actually uploaded, but I never approved this document, and that approval is what makes this verifiable. So to approve it, I'll just go click approve. We say match and then save. And now I can verify this application, but note I must hit this button because if I don't actually hit this button, even though it's verifiable, if I go to workforce placement page, it's still verified no, and I can't do anything. So always come back to application and then actually verify/lock the application. Once I do that, click agree. And I can go back to workforce placement. And voila, I can now continue the process. Okay, let's say that you're on the auto payment billing page and you want to voucher for one of your enrollments. And you come here, you click create, you go find your workforce training or your agency name, and you don't see your client on here. The first reason is this client is a contract voucherable. And what I mean by that is currently in 2024, the only contracts that are voucherable in the auto payment billing page are employment prep and special projects. So I see here that this contract is voucherable because employment prep, but I also see that this client is not even enrolled. And I know that because right here it says TBD, and this TBD is supposed to be the enrollment date. So I need to click the enroll button. So this is simple enough. Also, all I need to do is just go to the IEP and then click enroll and then click save. Notice that I have here that I'm missing a task. And remember, to enroll, you need to first have at least one task be created. So let's say here, a task I'm working with the client on is mock interviews. And then now I can click enroll. And then I click save. Now that my client is enrolled, I can now go back. So if I enroll today, it will show the next morning. Because we have a system that actually reviews every enrollment, every retention 30. So the next day it will show here in the system. But I know it's enrolled and it should be here. Another reason, and the last reason it might not show is because you have a contract limit of enrollments and a contract limit of placements. So you can go to other and general reports and then run our Chicago performance report. So I already have one pulled up. I'm contracted to have 40 planned enrollments, and currently I have 45. So I already met my goal of 40. So anything after 40 will not show on the auto payment billing page because I'll be getting paid past my limit. So again, the reasons why it might not show on the auto payment billing page is the contract is not a voucherable contract. You never click the enroll button. It takes a full day for it to show up on the auto payment billing page after you click enroll. And lastly, the last thing is you went over your contractual limit. Actually lost their job prior to retention 30. But luckily they found another job and they reached retention 30 with that new job. So to update this without creating a new application, all you need to do is go to work history and then make edits to your current placement. Just click this edit pencil and then just put the name. So they lost their job at McDonald's, but now work at Panda Express. The work start date is the week after they started from. And they are now making $20 an hour. And the address of this Panda Express is, save this and note that I changed the work start date. So now I click save. Now I go back to IAP page. My work start date has been updated and my retention 30 date has also been updated. And remember, to make this count, I need to come here and then click complete and then click save. And you see that you have all these enrollments, but you have 0 placements, and you just can't believe it because you know for a fact that your clients have reached retention 30. You even check the details, and it's saying that they obtain work, and it should have retention 30. So the main reason this happens is because we don't automatically assume, ECM does not automatically assume that a client reaches retention 30. Once that retention 30 date occurs, you need to come back to the system and then go to task and hit complete. So for example, I will come here and you see that this client reached retention 30 in January the 3rd. We're currently past January the 3rd of 2024. So all I have to do here to mark this as completed is come here, go to task status and hit completed and click save. If I don't do this, ECM will not automatically assume that the client reached retention 30 because we can't assume that they may have lost their job. And then once that happens, you can now rerun the report and that report will now reflect that retention 30. And if you have a lot of these type of cases, all you need to do is just go to the details of the report and just find all the ones that have a job. You can filter by first day of work and just copy this application ID. And I go back to ECM. And then go to application list, paste that, and then click search, and you find the application automatically, and then you can just make sure you just hit complete. Pretty simple, but it happens quite often. That we receive is what is the purpose of the outreach service page? That the client needed some transportation needs. I might just click on transportation. They need any mental health assistance. I can just click on mental health, and then just provide more details here. And of course, the default is today's date, but you can always backtrack and put the actual date that these services occurred. And let's say you're just meeting with clients to have a conversation or follow-up, you can still track that and just click no services provided and just track, it was just a quick call or email. It was just like a follow-up conversation. So again, this outreach service can be used within any stage you're at within our process. Just please don't forget it while you're doing enrollment and placement. Always come back to track all the services that you have done so that the city can know and can potentially reward you for these services. Bear with me. The last thing I'll mention is that if you run into any issues within the system, you can just create a ticket by going to Other and then going to Manage My Tickets. Let me put this to the side, Manage My Tickets. And then within here, you can just click Add and then create a subject and details, and then we'll get back to you within 48 hours. You can also email us, but we do prefer the ticket method because it's easier to just track every single item, and also it's easier to manage on our end.